Welcome to Brussels. Now, what's the country with the worst per capita death rate from coronavirus in the world? Based on the figures alone, it appears to be Belgium. Some say that officials here have overestimated the number of deaths because of the way that they've been calculating, including suspected COVID cases which may not have been tested. More than 9,500 people have died in Belgium, a country of 11 million, which makes it, by any reckoning, the country's deadliest period since the Second World War. But now Belgium is trying to open up and reboot its economy. Bruges, also known as the Venice of the North, is a monument to globalization. Its splendid town hall was built with the riches of the global cloth trade in the late Middle Ages. More recently, it's attracted millions of tourists every year. But the virus has kept them at home as international travel has pulled up the drawbridges and Belgium has become COVID notorious. Bruges is, of course, Belgium's main tourist attraction. At this time of year, the place should be heaving with tens of thousands of visitors from all over the world. They're clearly not back yet. But unless the government can overcome the image of one of the worst mortality rates per capita in the COVID pandemic on the planet, then tourism here doesn't really have a chance. The bars and restaurants are preparing to open up next Monday, but will anybody show up?
In London.
Okay.
Joseph has the prime spot for selling frites. Usually there's a 15-minute queue.
Everybody here, horses, boat, city tour, taxi, souvenir shop, chocolaterie, restaurant, bar, everybody has really difficult time for everyone.
The government here has been very honest about the numbers of people who've died, much more honest than any other government in Europe. So the numbers are very high. Do you think that was a mistake?
I don't know. I have a mixed feeling about it. Doing nothing is something, doing something is also having critics. But
for business, this is terrible.
It's terrible for business. Can you imagine businesses like this? If the weather is not good, you can't do anything with the terrace.
Yeah.
Belgium is one of the very few countries that have been counting all excess deaths, including in care homes, from the very beginning, which is why it's ended up at the top of the grim mortality per capita charts. So is Belgium paying the price of its own honesty? No, says the government's chief scientific advisor.
Now we know that it was the right thing to do, because when we have the numbers of the excess mortality and we compare it with the number of deaths that we registered, it seems to correspond quite well. It's almost a complete match. So that confirms that we did the right thing. But it was quite difficult in the beginning because people were saying we were overestimating the impact of the virus.
But as a scientist, does the image, the negative image that Belgium might have received as a result of the way that you counted it, does that worry you or not?
No, because I always try to explain to the press that actually what we do is very honest and very accurate. And if you see numbers coming from Belgium, people can trust them. I'm not saying that, but I'm speaking maybe of some other countries that don't have good surveillance systems, that maybe report no cases or a very limited amount of cases. I think that's more worrisome, and you should be suspicious of that.
So Belgium, a nation of 11.5 million, has had almost 10,000 virus-related deaths. We spoke to the government's dedicated COVID minister.
You've been very honest in Belgium about counting your numbers, but even beyond the honesty, the numbers have been pretty bad here, haven't they? Why is that?
Well, I think like in most European countries, we're a densely populated country at the heart of Europe, a lot of people coming in and going out. And of course also the organization of our elderly homes, where people are really sitting next to each other. And so I think those are the two main factors why Belgium was quite hard hit.
But here too, science hasn't been immune to politics. These were nurses and doctors at one Brussels hospital turning their backs on the visiting Prime Minister over hiring unqualified staff. And then there's the tricky politics of how to unlock the lockdown. Ostend's famous speech and the island of Britain somewhere in the distant haze. Just as we're preparing to quarantine most foreign arrivals, here they're saying, come visit, but without the kind of scrums that we saw on the beaches of Britain last weekend. Here, the mayor has a plan.
I want to work with a sign-up system so that people who are coming from Brussels and the other parts of Belgium will sign up that they will come. So I can count the people coming to Ostend on these beaches, not for the other beaches, but for these beaches near the center and near the rail station.
Online registered sunbathing, and down the road in Bruges, another glimpse of the new reality.
Instead of a water fountain, there's a hand gel dispenser, pedal operated I should add, and right next door, instead of soft drinks or chocolates or peanuts, you can get your face mask. Get used to it.
And while you're in Belgium, get used to him too.